Welcome back to Notre Dame Day. I'm Emily Evans. Joining us now is former Fighting Irish football player and the program's current director of player development, Hunter Bivin. Hunter, welcome to Notre Dame Day.
Hi, thanks for having me.
It's great to have you here. You began your Notre Dame football career as a top-rated offensive lineman in 2013. Can you talk us through your journey as a member of the Fighting Irish roster?
Yeah, absolutely. So, was a huge Notre Dame fan growing up. From small town Owensboro, Kentucky. I was probably the only Notre Dame fan in town. Played football my entire life. Got to high school. Was fortunate enough to be 6'6", 290 pounds. I could move pretty well. Got recruited and went into it and was like, you know what, Notre Dame. I'm a huge fan of Notre Dame, but I'm going to take my visits. I'm going to, not just commit because I'm a fan. Came to Notre Dame first and committed on the spot. And I've been here ever since. So they can't get rid of me around here. But I came to Notre Dame with, some lofty aspirations, was a top 100 recruit in the country. And then unfortunately had 3 heart surgeries during my time here. So my playing time was pretty limited, but learned a lot of really valuable lessons, made some really incredible relationships, played with some really, really, really good players. So it was really a dream come true.
Yeah, you've had quite a journey. What inspired you to return to work for Notre Dame football after you graduated?
Yeah, once I graduated, I sort of was starting to think about what I wanted to do in my post-football career and what I wanted to, where I wanted my life to go. And went and talked to Ron Paulus, who was our director of player development at the time. I was like, Ron, I don't really know where I want to go. And he was like, well, you've seen a lot of things. You've seen, the ups, the downs, the everywhere in between of Notre Dame football, and you could really help some people. And he said, that's exactly what I do. So decided to intern for Ron right after I was done. And then, Ron was promoted to where he is now. And this opportunity came open and I got to come back. So it was really a dream come true there.
Can you share what exactly the role of Director of Player Development entails and what ways you help players grow both on and off the field?
Yeah, it's funny. If you ask me on 10 different days what player development is, you'll probably get 10 different answers. But really, it's just helping those guys sort of understand and embrace, all that goes along with being a Notre Dame football student athlete and balancing all the crazy things that comes their way. Their career aspirations, everything from a social end, there being an academic support system for them in the building, leadership, accountability, all those things, and helping, coach those guys through those really unique life situations that they come across. That's a day in the life of Notre Dame player development. But, I get to tell my story and hopefully inspire one kid each and every day in one way or another. So it's a cool job. Keeps you on your toes. Every day is different. And I couldn't ask to be in a better place to do it.
Well, Hunter, you kind of just shared with us how your story inspires your players now, but can you kind of share a little bit more about how your experience helps meet the needs of your players that you serve now?
Yeah, absolutely. So, that overcoming adversity is really something you can't really teach in a classroom or in a meeting setting. It's something that you just sort of have to learn through. And having mentors that can stand beside you and walk that journey with you is pretty vital. And I had some really unique mentors and the older guys on the team that sort of coached me through these life lessons. So that's what I get to do every day. I'm not a coach. I'm not a professor. I'm just sort of a mentor for these guys to come in. It's almost like a guidance counselor is how I like to explain it. So having those solid support systems and people that are in your corner no matter what, that don't have any skin in the game, that are strictly there to coach you through those points of adversity. That's what this role is really all about. And I've seen quite a bit of those points of adversity during my time at Notre Dame. And so that experience helps me coach these guys through those really tough times.
Well, Hunter, thank you so much for joining us today. We can't thank you enough for all you do for Notre Dame football's student athletes.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Next up with Vahid is another Notre Dame athletics team member working to help athletes. Vahid?
All right. Thanks, Emily. Joining us now, Nixon Dorvilien, Associate Athletic Director for the athletic trainer for the Notre Dame men's basketball team. Nixon, welcome to Notre Dame Day.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Well, before we get back into the journey, I want to congratulate you on becoming MVP of the men's basketball team. How do you feel right now?
I'm very appreciative of the award. You know, it really was a community award. Me getting the award, it really was a reflection of the whole athletic department and sports medicine specifically. Everybody really came in and worked close together to help, the team, everybody get through the season, So it really was a reflection of everybody. I don't really want to just take the credit to myself because we had doctors working really hard. We had people from different teams working really hard, daily just to get everybody through. So it really was a team approach.
Well, congratulations.
Thanks.
Nixon, walk us through your journey from childhood in the Bahamas here to the U.S. In addition to working as an athletic trainer, you spent 14 years as a trainer in the NBA as well. Walk us back on that.
Okay, so let me see. At age 16, I remember my mom dropped me off at a bus station in Texas, and she was like, "Hey, you need to make something of yourself." I started at a little small school called San Jacinto, but I ended up finishing my undergrad degree at Park University. I went back to Bahamas, and then I was summoned back, for an opportunity to do grad school at Texas Tech. Upon finishing grad school at Texas Tech, I was able to work there. I was their first athletic trainer for track, and then I helped, we won a Big 12 championship. After that, I was actually recommended for a job, into basketball to work with the San Antonio Spurs. I knew nothing about basketball, and I just love track. Being from the islands, that's, our main sport. Anyways, make this fast. Anyways, while I'm working in the Spurs organization, I worked with Chris Quinn, and then I worked with Luke Zeller, and they mentioned how special Notre Dame is, and I was like, right after working with them, right around that time, I married my wife, who's the granddaughter of Charles McNeil. He was a fullback at Notre Dame. So my mother-in-law kept saying, Notre Dame is special, Notre Dame is special. You need to come and check this place out. So she brings me to a game here when you guys played Texas a few years ago. And then Notre Dame won that game, but I fell in love with the campus, the tradition. I was like, oh my gosh, this place really is nice. Anyways, fast forward, I was at a conference with Rob Hunt, our director of sports medicine. And, I just remember meeting him, and he was just, so graceful, and he was full of humility. And, I just remember just thinking he was a really nice person. Fast forward again, Skip Meyer, who did a great job here for the past 40 years, he was retiring. Rob Hunt reached out, and, they were, in looking for somebody from the pro ranks to, take over for the basketball program. And like right around that time, as it happens, the coaches I worked with at Utah, Quinn Snyder and Antonio Lang, they were familiar with, they both played for Mike Bray. So it was almost like a situation where the stars aligned because, I was definitely interested in, coming to this place to raise my family and be a part of this and, give back to the program, because I just remember the players, the student athletes that came out of the program, they were just held in such high regard in the pro ranks, and I don't know. I remember a conversation Luke Zeller and I had years ago, and, it was just something that stuck with me. So the first moment I had, I was definitely interested in coming to work here. So it was just kind of a moment of the stars aligning with, for me. That's a brief synopsis of how I ended up here. But it was fun. It was exciting. I'm happy to be here.
Well, and we are happy to have you here in South Bend as part of the Notre Dame men's basketball team. It was a challenging year with COVID-19 last year. Yeah, I can see your reaction. The protocols and all of that went along with it. How tough was it to navigate through that season?
You know what? It was tough, but like I say, it really was a community approach. I could think of so many people who actually helped us, along the way. But I have to start, like, when we got back from the tournament that was canceled last year, the first thing I remember Coach Bray, you know, his mantra moving forward was like, hey, it's going to be poised. We're going to be poised. We're not going to panic during this, pandemic, and he just had a sense of calm for the whole program. That was one thing that stood out. The second thing was, Dr. Leisler and Dr. Higginson, they really, really, you know, kept us abreast of, the changing protocols, and, helped us keep up with the standards that were needed to be able to compete. We had people in the return to play committee. So this thing was a really well-oiled machine, I must say, for that helped men's basketball get through.
Right. Well, Nixon, you were the MVP, and we appreciate you being here for Notre Dame Day.
Oh, thank you. I'm so happy to be here.